The Wellness Show, episode number 379.
Welcome to The Wellness Show, a podcast on health and wealth. I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, the founder of the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy. Join me as we get the latest insight, tips, and strategies from wellness providers, coaches, and successful, heart-centered entrepreneurs, and much, much more. The Wellness Show on Health, Wealth, and Enlightenment, and I'm your host, Tyson Bannigan, here to help you clear what no longer serves you, help you get out of your way, take back your personal power, stand in your truth, and deliver your awesome gifts to the world. And what a wonderful day it is here in paradise. It's a bit cloudy like it is on the planet, with people's emotions, which are high across the whole planet as we go through the giant shift, because there is no more normal. There's no going back to normal. We're about to discover a new normal. I'm pretty excited by that. And today we're talking about the things that are not normal, like how to deal with things that go bump in the night. Scary stuff, right? But before we begin, we have to see if we have a guest that's shown up. And no, the guest has not shown up yet. So we will proceed with the topic at hand. So good morning there, Laura.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. So you just had a experience of something that went bump in the night, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of things actually happen. The coffee cup flew off of the shelf, and I had a dark little. It looked like a rat run around. And all I do is observe. I stand back. We talked about that in the show yesterday, where I just stand back and observe. And I waited for the rat to figure out what that was about. Hello, you changed the layout. Go back to speaker view, please. Go back to speaker. Do you have it on speaker view? That's what he's asking us to do.
No.
Oh, we're both on the
Okay, so let him do what he's doing. Let's just do the show.
Okay. See if that helps. So yeah, so I stood back and watched and figured out that it was a witch doctor from Africa. We'll just put it.
Oh, you already said it, so just say it. From Uganda.
Oh, from Uganda. Yeah. So I called out the Uganda tribe that was that Tyson was working with, and then he tried to come back at me, and so he doesn't know who I am or what I am or how I work. And so we had a conversation, and he's basically not working right now, and that whole thing has been shut down by God energetically. And the rat was him in my home doing things, actually made me throw up. And immediately I knew, because I don't get physically sick, I get spiritually sick. And when I get spiritually sick, then I talk to God and I say, okay, what's going on? What's in this house? And he took care of it, like almost immediately. And then Tyson and another person from our group, Tony, who works closely with Tyson and I, was being attacked as well. And he's clear and free now as well. So those are the kind of things that Tyson and I deal with that go bump in the night, you might want to say. And it's always fun. I kind of get excited about it, because I'm like, what's God having me do now?
Yeah,
Other people get kind of scared. I don't. Go ahead.
Well, something's happening on this wavelength, because since that happened and we did that clearing,
Mm-hmm.
I've had many clients show up on my doorstep who are having things that go bump in the night. Two of them families from India, one that lives in Canada, one that lives in India. And I immediately was able to see that it's cursed and that it's multi-generational. So I'm quite excited, because I love India. I really do love India. I've traveled in India, spent time in India. I love the culture. I love the people. So I get excited. I'm saying shivers up my spine when I talk about this. So to help work with two families that are intimately connected, and all two families are going to do the deep clearing together. We're going to bring about transformation. You know, that's 64,500 souls times two, and then there's a multiplier effect. We're going to start cleaning up. I know this sounds pretentious, but I'll say it. We're going to start cleaning up black magic and curses in India. And to me, that's really, really exciting, because the tension, the drama that's unfolding here about we have to be in the street, we have to picket, we have to be confrontational to bring about change and transformation. I understand that, but ultimately, we have to get past the forces that are trying to make us do this.
You're right.
Have to become sovereign so that we can see that there is motivation to do this, but we don't get involved in it. Because if we do get involved in it, we're now part of the problem. Whether you're on the black square, the white square, you're still caught in the game of duality. So our goal is to get you off the game board, to be the observer with compassion like the Buddha, to see what's happening, be of the world, but not in the world. So that's our goal. That's the path to royal path to enlightenment, which we want to help you journey down. And part of this is to be realized that when things are going bump in the night, somebody's knocking at your door saying, hey, you need to upgrade your energy system, your bioenergy system. You need to take your energy, you need to take your power back. You need to stand in your truth.
Right.
And if you can be like Laura and get excited by it and giggle when the rat's running through your house, well, then all the more power to you, right?
Well, now, wait a minute. I did scream a little bit when I saw it. I was like, oh! And then I was like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't what I thought it was. And then I was like, you got to like start. Then the wheels start spinning, you know?
I want to talk about that just for a minute, because
yeah,
you know, I thought about this as, well, how does this happen? Well, let's talk about this. It's really quite simple. I haven't read the article, but the latest scientific research in one of the articles came through is the time is all a one. There is no past and present time, but we've known that, you know, for a long time, that there is, you know, that all time is eternally present. There's no past and there's no future. But also we do know that we're multidimensional beings. So as a multidimensional being, like one of the beings that's more advanced than we are is the Sasquatch, or the abominable snowman. That's a terrible name for a being who's so super intelligent, as the abominable snowman, or the Yeti, okay? Or the Sasquatch. You know, I believe my nickname was Sasquatch when I was at school, so I must be related to them, right? Because I was big and hairy. But that's a different story. So with the Sasquatch, the thing that's so neat about them was, one, they stink, and I don't stink, but they do smell. But they all of a sudden they're there and then they're not there. And the last thing that you see is their eyes. So how did they do that? Well, they're multidimensional beings that can manifest by lowering their vibrational frequency to be seen in this dimension. But they walk and play and are alive in other dimensional realities. So this is how the rat can appear in Laura's room and be manifested from the other dimensions into the physical dimension. And that's why plates can go flying around rooms. That's why all sorts of what we think are, what would you say, are other dimensional or scary things that go bump in the night actually can happen, because you can move between dimensions. So one more thing about that, if anybody knows about monatomic gold, when you have monatomic gold and you raise its vibration, it disappears. You can't see it. You lower its vibration and it manifests back into physicality. This is no different than where we are going as human beings as we move from carbon-based to being crystalline-based, is we'll be able to appear and disappear. And then the next step, as Don Juan was told by Carlos Castaneda, then you can choose where you want to wake up. Okay, do you want to wake up over here, or do you want to wake over here, up over here? And what he means is, do you want to physically wake up over in this place, or do you want to wake up over that place, which is called teletransportation? Anyway, that's how things can go bump in the night. So we are open to people phoning in and asking questions or telling us stories about things that go bump in the night, or if you need some help to clean your house for things that go bump in the night, then let us know. And some of the symptoms are, hey, you can never find your car keys, and you know that they're around, and you know where you put them, and you think, something
Right.
strange around here. Then it might be time to have a little sit-down conversation with your poltergeist in your house and say, oh, okay, you guys, I know this is a game, but let's play this game in a different way. Why don't you help me find the things, right? Why don't we join forces, and you guys on the other dimensions can be co-creators with me, and we can play together instead of you being the trickster. And sometimes they say, that's a great deal. This guy's paying attention to me and they want to work with me. So let's stop fooling around. Let's actually help them do what they need to do. So now you're working with the elementals and the poltergeists and the other dimensional entities to assist you in raising consciousness. So yeah, so who do you want on your light team? Who do you want to be helping you? So those that aren't helping you can usually have a little chat with them and say, hey, you want to help? And a lot of them will say, yeah, that sounds like a good deal. Especially the lower entity things that go bump in the night that people send you, the voodoo and the scary stuff like that, or the curses, and they go, boo, and you go, oh, hi, boo, and you go, oh, nice to meet you, boo, I'm not scared of you, boo. Do you know that you're actually been working for the dark force, and that you're binding people, that you really are a pain in the butt? Oh no, I don't know that. Well, do you know that you're not helping humanity? How would you like to help humanity? Oh, so you give them an option, and invariably they will realize for the first time that they're actually part of the problem, not part of the solution. And when you give them the option to work in the light, they invariably want to do it. So this is the way
Right.
you disempower higher entities that are using lower entities and controlling them. You talk to the lower entities and say, how would you like to work for the light? How would you like to help unbind humanity? And invariably that is such a release for them, because they're threatened that if they don't do what they're going to do, that they're going to be punished. And when you release them to go and work with the light, they get very excited. So
Right. So do you have like I have tons and tons of stories about these. Um I'll just share one, because when you said that they get like they're like right? I went to a woman that I was helping become a medium. She's a very talented medium here in my area, and she had been a heroin addict before this, which is like can be very typical for people with um gifts, God's gifts, because they try and self-medicate when they don't understand what their gifts are. So, of course, because she did that, she opened herself up to some portals and stuff and dark, non-essential entities that were literally pushing her down her stairs and tormenting her children, who are extremely psychic as well. And so I went over, and we're sitting there, and this thing comes up, and it had like the head of a goat and the body of a man, but then its feet looked kind of goatish, and it was like all big and like trying to scare me, and like getting in my face and like right. And I just laughed. I was laughing, and the more I laughed, the angrier it got. Oh my gosh. So then I called in Archangel Michael, and it had a conversation, and it didn't take very long and it was gone. But the fact that it kept like trying, it was like literally like, a little kid, right? When they think they have like Halloween costume on, and they're like all big and bad, and they're like, ooh, like first of all, they can never touch you. They can like push energy, and like you can feel like you're being held down on the bed, but as soon as you say I'm a sovereign whole human being, and the light of God, then boom, they have to go, right? Then they dissipate and go away. So I knew I was in control and that it couldn't harm me. So that's where the laughter comes from, because I'm like, you're trying so hard, and all I have to do is say, oh, but you're just a wee bit little of a boy. And then boom, they become a wee bit little of a boy, right? Just a tiny little, like one of those things that you get in, and little boys get in those
like a
packages,
cockroach,
for, what do you call them?
like a cockroach.
No, those little statues, you know, with the
Yeah,
little
they're
soldier
still like a little
statue.
cockroach. They're like a little bug, right? And
Right. But anyway, we have all the power because we have free will to change and do whatever we want with them. So I was like laughing. I was just letting it be what it wanted to be and all big and bad. But the laughter, and she's like, "Why are you laughing at it?" And I'm like, "Because it's can't you see it like being all like ridiculous right now?" Trying to be like, ah. And her smoking and her heroin addict, you know, self, I'm like, I don't vibrate at that level. So she was still vibrating at that lower vibrational. So she was freaking out, and I was like having fun with it. So that's how that whenever I say whenever you get those kind of things, just laugh, because that laughter is what God always says is the best. Laughter is the best medicine. It will break up any of that dark energy anyway. So laugh, people, laugh.
but it can be scary. I know it can be scary. I mean, when the curtains start to rattle and things go, bump in the night and noises and whatever. I had an opportunity to tune into some ghosts, or I don't know if I tuned into a ghost or they just sent me the message, and they said, in the place of a haunted house, think of it this way: you human beings are inhabiting our house where we live, and you're bothering us. So from your dimension, you think we're bothering you, but in actual fact, you're a pain in the ass. In our house, this is our house. We've lived here forever, and you humans don't know how to pay attention to us and don't behave yourselves, right? And so we're going to bug you because, you know, so that's when you need to sit down and have a little conversation about, are you guys ready to go to the light? Have you finished? Why are you still here? There's usually a reason why there's still earthbound entities. And if you have a conversation with them and ask them what it is that they're wanting to resolve and can help them resolve it, most of them want to go to the light. Now, I have to say that there's some places like haunted houses that people make a lot of money out of. And at 108 Mile, which is in northern British Columbia, there's, I guess it was in the gold rush days, it was one of the places where people stopped off when they were on their way to do the gold mining. And this whole town, which is a historic town, is just full of entities. And during the conference, they had guided tours that could go there. And they said, Tyson, do you want to go? I said, no, I can't go because I'll go clean the whole place up and then you won't have a business. So don't let me go with you because all of those entities are mostly wanting to probably move on. And if I show up, you won't have a business anymore. So some people really love their entities, right? They love the fact that they can talk to Uncle Harry or whatever, or they love to be scared. So I don't suggest that as a good thing. I think that having earthbound spirits trapped here because of whatever reason is probably not as beneficial as being able to help them go to the light. But usually you have to make a contract with them. One of them was that I worked with, and it was really like talking to an angel. I often thought I was talking to an angel until things got a little bit scary. And she started banging all the curtains. I wasn't there. The person who was the channel through, the angel was coming through, and I realized that really this was an entity that was sticking around because she was murdered and wanted to have revenge on the person who murdered her, which was part of the, anyway, we don't need to go there, but part of the hooded ones, let's call that, the ones that are run around in white sheets, was across the street and was involved in the murder, and she wanted retribution. And once I told her that we could take care of that, that reconciliation could occur, then she was willing to go to the light. So it's really always good to have a conversation if you're at that stage with the entity, see what's going on with them, because they're usually in some sort of crisis or turmoil in their dimension and really could do with some help.
I agree. I agree. And I know that this is a controversial kind of a show, only because not everyone has had um, different things come up that are non-essential energies, or um, hauntings in their house or whatnot. So not everybody believes it, not everybody understands it. But if you are out there and you have had any experiences, please call in to our 1-800, or what is it? What is our number? 1-866.
1-866-369-7464. And Tyson just turned his phone on. So, I mean, before that, you couldn't. I was in silent mode. I was the silent, stealth mode. Stealth mode. But now the line is now open and you can now phone in. Tell us about what's happening in your life, what things are going bump in the night, what sort of things that you might want to have help with, or maybe the ones that are discarnate beings really need some help to go to the light.
Or if you just have questions about them, like
Well,
anything.
let me tell you about one of my clients that I work with. He phones me up and he says, I just want you to tune in and tell me whether this entity that's speaking to me is is part of my light team or is part of my guys. And my first question is he swearing at you? Yes. Okay, he's not on the light.
Right.
Is he trying to scare you? Yes, he's not on the light.
Right.
Is he trying to abuse you? No. Yes, he's not part of the light. If he's trying to get you to do something, he's not part of the light. So that's the clue for things that go bump in the night. That's how you make the distinction between those entities that want to bind you through control and those entities or angelic forces or other dimensional beings that want to help you liberate, move along the path to enlightenment.
Exactly.
The clue
but
is,
remember that those that they can also be very persuasive too, and tell you things. This is how I know when it's a dark entity and when it's of the light. They'll tell you things that you've spoken aloud. They'll manipulate you with those things that you've said aloud. Because and that's why God said to do things silently, right? Like talk in prayer in your head and God will be able to hear you, because anything that you speak out of your mouth, the darkness can hear, and then they'll manipulate it and scare you with it and control you with it. So those voices or those thoughts are not of the light.
yeah, anything that has to do with punishment, control, abuse. If you don't do this, we're gonna whatever, hellfire and damnation. So I mean, I'm gonna even say something even more radical. So if we go to the Bible, I don't know, the Bible's not a big thing with me, but it comes up all the time. So if we go to the Bible and we look in the Old Testament and we look at a very vengeful God, right? Which says, thou shalt do this or there'll be hellfire and damnation. Then I just pose this question to you, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So I guess I'm entitled to mine. But I don't want anything to do with a God that's threatening me. Okay, that's not my God. Okay, my God is an all-loving, compassionate being or entity or energy or the source of all that is, that loves me, always has loved me, and always will. And I could never get it wrong, no matter how bad rotten I am. So any vengeful gods that say, you don't do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to punish you with hellfire and damnation, is not somebody I want to work with. So if that's the clue on all dimensions, as above, so below, anybody that's threatening you, that if you don't do what you're told, is in the whole vibrational frequency of domination over you, wanting to control you. And as a sovereign human being, you need to be able to stand in your own truth, no matter what anybody's telling you need to do. You have to know in your heart of heart what's true for you and what's flowing through you about what you need to do, which could be completely different than the person who's standing next to you, right? So
Yes,
Laura and
absolutely.
I get different guidance, right? And most of the time we're on the same page. But if I get different guidance than Laura, I have to follow it, right? Because that's what I'm being guided to do. So it's really, really important for you to be able to know this distinction between voices in your head and things that go bump in the night that are threatening you, and those things which are helping you become a sovereign human being, which brings us back to the deep clearing protocol. That's how we start to make the distinction, so that you know the difference between the voices in your head and the guidance you receive from source. And if you've had any addiction problems, then you are loaded with entities, because all addictions, heroin, cocaine, all the designer drugs, all have entities, right? And these entities can mess with you, even ayahuasca. So even the plant medicines can have entities riding on them that are not very nice. I'm not saying
Absolutely.
that plant medicines aren't beneficial. I'm not saying that acid hasn't opened my consciousness up, but I'm saying you have to be very, very clear what energies you're allowing to flow through your body from what source. And you really need to be doing it in a safe environment with a guide that knows what they're doing, has been down that path, and knows how to deal with the negative entities so that you don't get overwhelmed.
Yep. We have a story from Wendy Raymond. She said, my previous house had a Native American that was attacking me. I would physically have scratches. The land behind us was being built on, and they were angry. And I think they were just getting my attention, so it helped stop the building of the houses. Anyway, I had a fabulous lady, Laura. Oh, you're sweet. I
I don't know who
didn't
you're
know that was
talking about.
coming. Who helped me through it. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, yes, you're welcome. Um, I don't know, Tyson, if you're like this either, but I don't always remember my readings or the clearings or the healings that I do. It's between them and the others. But when they remind me of it, like she just did, I sort of remember that. Um, I know that there was a lot of houses being built and that there was a lot going on. Something about a school too, and it's just like how it works, like just like
Right.
little bits and pieces. But how however it worked, I'm just glad that it did, and I'm glad that you're safe and sound now. Um, so yeah, I know I have tons of stories. These stories come because I've written them down and to share with others so that Tyson and I can give examples of the work that we do. But for the most part, like I forgot all about that, Wendy. Thank you.
So I'll tell you
And I
another
really don't
story like
remember the
that.
Indians, which is interesting. What?
I'll tell you another story like that because, and this one
Okay.
was, and I'm a little different than you. As soon as I know who that person is and they plug me in, I have a full record of everything we talked about. It's sort of cool, but otherwise I can't remember. And sometimes I don't remember names and I have to be reminded who they are. And once I've been reminded, and I'd like to correct that, by the way, Divine Mother, if you could download the ability to know from the voice or from the name exactly who they be, that would make my job much easier. But I digress. But thank you, Divine Mother, for that download. I greatly appreciate it. Will help me with my job. Thank you. All right, well, moving on. There was, I got a call about this playing field in Burnaby. Was like like one of these big, huge stadiums, right? And people were getting around that place were getting cancer, like unusual numbers. Kids that were playing on the field, those that were coaches, those that were living in the area. And so we tuned into it to do some work with this client and discovered that it was on top of a toxic waste dump. This place had been built, right? But on top of the toxic waste dump, underneath was a First Nations burial site,
Oh
right?
my God. Are you serious?
I am. And we put up a whole grid and it wouldn't clear. And so I was trying to
Yeah.
send all the First Nations to the light. So I phoned Raymond up, and I don't normally talk with Raymond Grace, who's one of my primary teachers, right? And Raymond says, well, how did you talk to them? I said, oh, I just was sitting in the light. He said, no, they don't understand. That's white man terms. You need to be sending them to the happy hunting ground. Oh, I said, I get it. I'm using the wrong language. So as soon as I send everybody to happy hunting ground and that their ancestors were waiting for them, everybody was able to clear out of there right away and go back, and that place could settle down. Now about the toxic waste and all that, I don't know how that went. I do know that this poor lady was trying to communicate with her community that there was a problem and nobody wanted to listen to her, even though there was such a high incident of cancer. It's sort of like the voice in the wilderness of somebody speaking the truth, but others don't want to hear it because they'd have to understand things in a way that they don't want to understand. They don't want to think that somebody would do something like that, right? They don't want to know that people are that what do I say?
Evil?
Yeah, well, maybe evil, or just, I would think maybe that's too strong, detached from their own human nature, or they're so pathological, or that
Well,
they
I
do
I do
something like
know
that.
this, that your First Nations are just like our Native Americans, right? And when I went to Brazil and I came home, I was explained why America is so much stronger than Brazil in the matter of we are not under attack as much from non-essential energies because of the American Indians and because of the energies that they created for thousands of years on this land. Um, they created they created what I call like um, spinning energies
Yeah, I
that
would agree with you.
of love and light. And when you put toxic waste over these, because burial grounds were extremely
Sacred.
um, sacred and had lots of energy around them. When you put toxic waste on that, that is evil. That is a different, and it may not have been um, that
Conscious, yeah.
it was not especially from humans, but non-essentials that put the toxic waste on there to gain more power and more momentum. But what they don't understand is that people like Tyson and First Nations can recognize that as well. And that's what God was saying. It was like, look at what's going on here. And now the energy is back up and running. And that's why just a tiny bit of light will illuminate the darkness. It does not take a lot to illuminate. Remember that.
Yeah, I think what you're saying about North America and our indigenous people, we are truly blessed. So many other countries that I worked in, have worked in, like India, Pakistan, through Herzegovina, all through that area, Middle East, Turkey, the amount of curses and abuse is so dominant, and it's literally locked in the geopathic stress in the land. And while the light is strong there, the negative forces are equally as strong because of multi-generational abuse and curses, right? And so North America is relatively clean. And I know when I was under attack in India and I had a near-death experience, and I didn't know whether I could actually get home. Like, getting home was the most difficult thing I've ever done. I kissed the ground when I landed in Canada because I knew I was on safe ground. I knew that I was out of that hold that was come from mind control that was happening from India. And so we are fortunate here that the First Nations in North America, on the back of this ancient Turtle Island, have kept the relationship strong with Divine Mother, or what they can call the Great Spirit, and also with Mother Earth, right? That lineage, that bringing the light down through their bodies with everything that they did, everything was ceremonial, everything was a gift, everything that they did was done in a ceremonial way, and therefore they were taken care of and blessed. And that's why there was a lot of time for fun and games and pleasure and doing things other than what the white man does, going to work, right? Because Mother Nature sustained them. So this is, I believe, the new way that we need to get back to, and how we live our life in being harmony with nature. Then we are gifted by Mother Nature of all of our needs and wants are met in a very, very benevolent way. Mother will take care of you like you're returning to the Garden of Eden. But if you're a bad boy and a bad girl, you're going to get booted out, and you're going to be locked out and not allowed in.
I 100% agree. But Eduardo and Karen both have questions. Eduardo says, does doing the DCP create a bubble of protection around the individual? How do you use sage, herbs, or other items to protect from entities? But you don't really use sage and herbs to protect from entities. That's basically to clear out after you've gotten rid of the non-essentials. Then you can, it's like dusting, you can use those to clear it out. But I will say right now that saging to get rid of non-essentials does not work. Just gonna say it doesn't work.
Well, I would say that it's like it cleans up the environment. It's like sweeping your house or dusting your house or vacuum your house. It doesn't change the fundamental structure of the house, but it does clean it up, right?
Right. You're not gonna suck up your couch with the vacuum. It's just not gonna happen. And that's what non-essentials are like. They're like couches. They're a little bit too heavy for the sage and the herbs. But yes, the DCP does it how do you say it? It like does like a 3 foot like light around you, and so when any non-essentials comes into that vibration, then it gets booted back out into the light. That's how Tyson and the master dowsers have it set up. So it's not really a bubble of protection, as more of it's like once it hits your vibration, it's like a glass being hit on the pavement. It's going to shatter and dissipate. I mean,
Yeah.
glass doesn't dissipate, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, let me just translate it a bit differently.
Okay. All right, Tyson. I liked my explanation.
I do like that.
Anyone out there like Laura's explanation, raise their hand.
No, that's all right. I just want to clean up the glass on the pavement, if that's okay with you.
Right. No, I know. I get it.
So
it wasn't the best explanation. I apologize.
No, it's great. I like it. Okay, so the deep clearing protocol, the whole thing is get out of the mindset of creating a protective shield around you, because that's the stance of a warrior. That's like, oh, I got to get my shield down. I got to get my sword off. I got to girth my loins because I'm going into battle. Therefore, I need a protective shield. Okay, that means you're at war. When you're not at war and you raise your energy field, the fact that you raised your energy fields, that those entities no longer have access to you. You're not warring with them. You're not trying to push them away. You're not trying to do anything. You're just you being you, a sovereign human being. And whoever touches your field, when we work with Divine Mother, it's really clear. Any being that touches my field will be immediately transferred into pure divine white light. So if you want to go to the light, come and touch my auric field, right? I'm not making it a protective shield, but if you touch it, then you're going direct to the light, which is great because I could walk through a graveyard, and if there's entities that want to go to the light, all they have to do is come into my auric field and boom, they're on the way to the light. I don't have to say anything or do anything. I don't have to protect myself. I don't have to put up shields. I don't have to put on my armor. I'm not at war. So no, I see it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just talk about one more thing around this, is that for a long time, I saw the deep clearing protocol like that. Okay, let's push all these bad guys out. Let's protect ourselves, right? Let's do this. And I thought, well, wait a minute. Let's say half of the energy on the planet is non-beneficial and 50% is beneficial. I don't know if that's true, but it probably is, because you need that balance. So I'm only willing to play with 50% of the energy on the planet. That doesn't make any sense. Why don't I transmute all the energy that's projected at me at the field, at the auric level, into beneficial energy? Now I can use 100% of the energy that's available on the planet. It just makes more sense. But that was a huge aha, is to move from the warrior stance into what I would call the Hierophant, or into the alchemist, where I transmute the lesser into the greater, or I transmute that which doesn't serve me into something that does serve me, or something that's non-beneficial into beneficial. Why not? All energy is equal. All energy can be transformed. On the energy level, there's not good and bad. There's just positive and negative, right?
Right. And that comes back to Eduardo's next, like, not question, but his statement here. It is kind of a question. He says, what's the difference between crossing somebody over an unrestful spirit and getting rid of a trickster entity, trickster spirit or entity? Well, it's the same thing. The unrestful spirit could be the trickster or the non-essential entity, the alcoholic, the druggie, the person who maybe devil worships. All of those kind of things, they can be tricksters and work for the non-essential energies as well. So they're all, like Tyson was saying, energy is energy and vibration is vibration. So when you think of it like when you play dun dun dun. That's a lower vibration. When you play a higher key, and I can't do it because I'm not musically inclined, but you're getting what I'm saying.
Oh,
That
come on, I
that
want to do it.
higher vibration, the higher sound, the ting 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 ting, that's different than the boom 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 boom, right? Not saying that non-essentials are boom boom boom, but just a different vibration in general. And so when we cross over into the light, we're taking the lower vibrations by, like for me, I bring in crossing over angels. They illuminate the vibration into a higher vibration, reminding it that it can be and has been higher vibration. It illuminates and then it crosses over. So sorry, spirit. So energy is energy, vibration is vibration. This isn't like good or bad, happy or sad. It's an awareness of different levels of vibrations or frequencies. That's all it is. We're just trying to put these things into words so that we can explain them to you. But they have a consciousness too, just like you and I do.
Yeah, and they're all
So,
evolving. I mean, everything is evolving towards the light, whether they know it or not.
right.
Or that's why it's called enlightenment. In the light, becoming enlightened is becoming fully illuminated with light. So those that are dark or those that are vibrating on lower frequency, they're still on an evolutionary path, right? So when we help them make that transition to the light, that we're allowing them to be upgraded in the sense of going to, and some, some dowsers talk about sending them to, I mean, Raymond talks about this, sending them to spirit guides that do the healing and cleansing and working with them to upgrade them and whatever. But basically what we're doing is helping them do the next evolutionary step for themselves so they can upgrade, so they're part of the evolutionary process. So we're doing a benevolent act. We're not punishing them. We're saying, okay, you showed up in our lives because there are certain things that I needed to learn, my clients needed to learn. Now we've learned it. Now we take it back to our sovereign human being power. Now your role is over, and now we can help you graduate if you want. If you want to stick around and bug somebody else, that's your choice. But if you want to upgrade your energy level on your own evolution of consciousness as an entity, let us help you. So it always is done as a benevolent act. This is not punishment, right? There's no hell, fire, damnation, burning, chopping, dicing, sending you to, cornering you, imprisoning you, torturing you, all that crap that many people feel they need to do with entities. Let's not do that. That's abusive, and there's repercussions. There's karmic repercussions of doing that. You're going to get bit in the butt. Don't do that.
Ouch. And it hurts
Yeah,
because I used to do it.
yeah.
Now I laugh through it.
Yeah, I used to do it too because I didn't know any better. When I started out with
Right.
Archangel Michael, I was so upset that any entity or any ET could inhabit a human body. I was so grossed out by that. I was so angry and pissed off. I was taking Archangels Michael and I was slicing and dicing and chopping and hacking and wheezing. And, I was at war. It took me a long time to realize that was not very good for my own energy field, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's so much easier to do it and just explain to them. Last night I'm sorry, this morning I had a spirit that committed suicide, and I talked to him, and as I was talking to him, he was so full of shame and fear and doubt, and he was head hanging down low, very 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 sad. And I said, wouldn't you like to be free of all of these, like this victim mentality and all of this shame and guilt? And he said, I don't deserve it. And I said, well, but you do. And I illuminated him with the 10,000 crossing over angels, and immediately he felt like the lamb in Jesus's arms, the picture of Jesus holding the lamb, and it was just relaxed. That's how he was, and boom, he crossed over. So once once you how do I say this, your vibration dictates your life, right? Your thoughts, your feelings dictate your life. So we're here to say, that if you stay in the light, if you stay in a higher vibration, when you die, you cross right over into the light, and you won't have those lower vibrations. That's why I laugh when these things come through, because that's a higher vibration. Laughter and love, joy, all of those are higher vibrations than victim mentality, than depression and anger and angst, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at, a power versus force, or you look at letting go, and you look at the diagram there, the lower energies are part of the earth wanting to recycle the energy. Like anything that's below the horizon, so to speak, is being recycled, right? It's in the involution. It's going to go through the compost pile. Anything above that is evolving. So you're either evolving or you're involving. You're either growing and becoming enlightened, or you're becoming decaying and going into the darkness to be recycled. Nothing gets lost. Energy neither is created nor destroyed, but it can be part of that cycle. So when you cross over that energetically into the higher vibrations of love and compassion and everything, all of the universal forces are there with you to enhance your life. When you're below the horizon, the whole attitude is, oh, this person wants to terminate their existence. Let's help them do that. Let's help them, fulfill their mission, whether that's going to be through shame or guilt or doubt or whatever. So
Oh,
in other words, what we're saying
absolutely. And
is
that,
you are ordering the pizza, right?
yes.
Pizza is being delivered. You're ordering it with the toppings. So if the topping is shame, guilt, then you're going to have the pizza delivered in that way. You're going to get more shame and guilt and doubt and everything's going to show up in the world to say, yeah, you were right. You are a rotten, no good son of a blankety blank, right?
Right? That's why you gotta laugh. The more you laugh, the more laughter and love will
Yeah.
come to you, and more abundance and more joy. And people are like, how do I get there? What do I do? I'm like, it's simple. Just love yourself.
Yeah.
Love
Order
life.
the right pizza. What toppings do you want on your pizza?
And that really is very good, because you know how many people order pizza in this city, or in this city, in this world. In this world, pizza's huge. So that's an excellent image
Yeah,
of
and pizza
what
gets
you put
delivered
on
to
it.
you, and that's what the universe, it delivers to you what you ordered. So what are you ordering? When you get up in the morning, what are you ordering today? Do you fill out your gratitude journal? Are you ordering more gratitude? Or, oh, poor me, I fall upon the thorns of life, I bleed. Oh, I suffer.
No,
Oh, it's terrible.
no.
Please, Laura, rescue me. Come on, let me tell you my
Dude, I'm
story.
gonna tell you right now. If you start my day out with your BS, and you're
I'm
complaining, and
so,
you're
Laura, you don't understand me.
no,
I'm
no, no, nip it,
suffering.
nip it. I say nip it. That's
I'm
enough. I don't
suffering.
want to hear that crap.
My sorrow is
Yep.
worse than your sorrow. You just don't understand me.
I'd be like, knock it off. Oh my Lord, I can't handle it.
You're
I
not
start out my
suffering, Laura.
day
You don't love me.
grounding and love.
You're not listening to me.
I'm gonna throw an orange at you from Wisconsin. Give you some orange juice in the morning.
Yeah.
No, I don't like it. Oh, it just drives me crazy. That's why the stories drive you and I crazy. We're like, yeah, we heard it already. We don't need to go there. Let's figure out how to get out of that crap.
But let's be honest with you. When if you need to tell me your story, I will listen, because it
Yeah.
is in this story where there is the problem, and I can understand what it is. But if you keep telling me the story when I'm helping you learn how to kick back your personal power, and you get stuck in their story, then I'm going to say, I need to interrupt you whenever you go into your story, because I've heard your story, and I want you to know that I have compassion. I've been there. I'm not asking you to clear from yourself something that I haven't already done myself. Honest to God, I've been there. I've done that. And if we want to, play cards, so to speak, that, who has the worst situation, whether it's parental or it's educational or whatever, or my story is worse than your story, I can guarantee you my story will trump your story every time. Okay. So I've been there, I've done it, and you don't need to know my story, but I can guarantee you, whatever you can come up with, I probably can beat it with a life experience because I've been there. So it's out of that compassion of being there that I can be stronger with saying, okay, I understand you, you understand that I understand you, and I love you for who you are. Now let's move past the story, right? So you get to tell the story once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, but that's it.
Right.
Then
No,
you're
and
done.
I completely agree. Our stories do, we can learn from stories, and we can, some stories are very beneficial and help us understand things. But when you get stuck in a story and it's like, oh, but oh, the non-essentials are always, they're always coming after me. And we've had clients like this where they get stuck in their stories. And as soon as we, Tyson and I both said, okay, get out of your story. Let's move on past this. The people that listened to us grew and changed, and the ones that didn't are still in their stories. They know who they are. They listen to our show. I'm not going to call out any names, but they're still exactly where they were when I met them, and Tyson knew them years before this. So that's why we, with compassion and love, try and get you out of the story so that you can grow and change and be the light worker, or do what God created you to be to on this planet. But if you're going to get stuck in your story and you're not going to move anywhere, we're eventually we're just going to be like
Well,
moving on.
but basically, we can't help you.
It's
That's
true.
just it. We can love you. We can have compassion for you. We can even understand your story. We can even understand what the next step could be for you, but we can't help you unless you make that step, right? You don't, if you don't do the work, you don't get the results. And when I work with a client and they, somebody phones me up and says, da, 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 and I want you to, I want you to clear up the entities that I have and I'm under attack and whatever. And I said, well, are you really willing to work with me for 30 days? No, I just want you to do this. And I say, no. Are you willing to work with me for 30 days? Because I can't do it for you. Well, actually, I can do it for you, but I'm not going to, because karmically, it's not good for you and it's not good for me. This is your path. I can help you down the path by showing you the light on the path, but you got to walk the path. You don't do the work, you don't get the results. So, well, I don't want to do that. Well, then I say, okay, well, then phone me back when you're ready and willing to commit 30 days to work with me. Otherwise, there's no point in starting.
Exactly. And when you figure that out right away, then you save a lot of time for them and a lot of heartache for them. And it just works better. And I always tell my clients, I'm going to teach you how to fish. I'm not going to fish for you. And I've had clients who are like eating minnows for like weeks at a time, and they're starving, and they're just like, please feed me. And I'm like, eventually you're going to get sick of like just fishing for minnows, right? The little tiny ones, and you're going to go for the big ones and you're going to get it. But if I continue to feed you, you'll never learn. And I've had them move on because they just want to fish for minnows, and they're not sustaining themselves. And they constantly want me to come in and clear them and fix them, which I've done my work. Tyson has done his work. We're teaching you how to do your work, and it's not beneficial if you don't learn how to fish for yourself. Correct, Ty?
So yeah, so let's go back to the bumps in the light. So if you're having bumps in the light or things that are scary, if you're having entity voices in your head, if you're overwhelmed with what's happening in your life, if your life is full of accidents that keep repeating over and over, if you're losing your jobs and can't get a job, if you're having feel like you're in a downward spiral or willing to jump off a cliff and commit suicide, if you're having any of these problems, then really get hold of us, and we need to be working with you at least for 30 days to do the deep clearing protocol.
And
So
here's
you
the
can
deep
start
cleaning
taking
protocol. I
back
just
your
want y'all
life.
to see it.
So you can start taking back your life and bring yourself back to being a sovereign human being and in charge of what shows up in your life. And we'll teach you how to order pizza, how to order a cosmic pizza with what you want to show up in your life. Do you want some ease, grace, abundance? What is it that you want? And even for me, and I have to, this is a never-ending quest, right? I'm always having to upgrade my pizza. I'm always having to decide, what am I ordering? and what am I not aware that I'm ordering, because part of me is still operating on automatic pilot because I haven't figured out what trauma or what unresolved conflict is still holding me back. The mere fact I haven't graduated from this planet and I'm not enlightened means I'm not done, right?
Right. And how many people do we have to go, like, that are out there that have done the deep cleaning protocol? You know what this does. You know how amazing this is. Please send your testimonials into soul to soul readings at gmail.com. Let me know how this has bettered your life. Like, let us know so that we can read it on here, so that Tyson can put it in his book, so that we can help more people. If you've done the deep cleaning protocol, be a part of the change of the world by allowing other people to do it too. Tell your family, tell your coworkers, tell your friends, tell strangers on the street that maybe you meet because they're trying to commit suicide, or they're in depression or anxiety. There are answers. You don't have to be on drugs. You don't have to be an alcoholic. You don't have to commit suicide. There are other options. And one of the biggest options that I took, that I stepped into, is the deep cleaning protocol. And it changed my life. And I see it change other people's every day, all day long. Tyson, Tony, and I are all coaches that will coach you through it. And we are here to help you illuminate your life and change it for the better. Are you ready for that? Because I know I was.
All right, so let's shift gears for here. I know we're getting close to the end of the show. And just to let you know that if you are already doing the deep clearing protocol, and if you've been attending the basic dowsing ones, which were, what is the deep clearing protocol all about? And we went through the 64 statements, and I talked about over 4 hours, what are these statements all about? Why are they important? The next step is, what do we want to order? What sort of pizza do we want to order? And so now we're at the stage of doing the I am invocations, which is really the manifestation part of it. So the class is open on Friday. It's from 10, most likely it'll be 2 hours, but or at least an hour and a half. It's for free. If you want the class materials after the fact, then you need to pay $33 US. If you've already paid for a course and you haven't got it, you need to message Tyson and tell him which class you want that you didn't get. Okay, we're in the midst of shifting from one academy to the other. It's a bit crazy here as we do this. We love you. If you didn't get a course, stop complaining. Just let one of us know and we'll get it to you, right? And,
yes, absolutely. Because Tyson is starting the Wellness Academy. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's a brand new academy. It'll be much easier to find the courses. We're just right now, this morning I was working on, all the different conduits that you can come into the course, and you sequentially can go through and upgrade yourself. What's happening is the boots on the ground, which is a geomancy course, how to work with angels, how to deal with earth energies, is opening up, and the first course is at 2 p.m. on Tuesday. It's boots on the ground. It's open. There's 2 ways you can participate. You can participate an hour every week. It's a 1-year-long course at 333. There's 12 branches to geomancy. We'll spend 1 month on each branch, and it will be recorded. If you can't pay full price and want to pay half price, you can come in after the fact and listen to the videos, but you won't be able to have the live instruction. However, the last week of the month, you will be able to come on and ask your questions. So there's 2 ways you can do this. 333 and come on and be part of the class, or after the class, come on and learn the materials after the fact at half price. 2 different options. All right, boots on the ground coming up starting on 2 p.m. on Tuesday. All right. The academy looks pretty good. I was going over with my webmaster what it looks like. It's going to be quite a job to move courses from one academy to the other, but I guarantee you these are going to be like stepping stones, or I can see exactly where you are in a course, what you've done, what you haven't done. I can show you how to get from A to B. It'll all be integrative. There'll be like a subscription if you want to pay X per month, which give you access to absolutely everything in the academy. You can have one-to-one coaching with Laura or myself. You can have 1 hour a week or half an hour a week as an option. And we can take you through from where you are to where you want to go, and fast track you through everything in the Academy, or you can do it piece by piece according to your own interests and what it is that you want to learn. So we're looking forward to this. It has opportunity for quizzes. It has opportunity feedback, videos. Yeah, pretty exciting. And I'm also in the midst of writing my book. So if you've got a testimonial and want to be in the book, and if you have a business, right? And if you are certified by Tyson, you get to market in the quote your business and how people can get hold of you, right? So if you want to be in the book, then you need to be in one of the certification programs. And there's the Distant Healing Certification Program, which is up and running. It's a 3-month certification. The Dowsing and Energy Healing certification course, which is 6 months. And then there's Boots on the Ground, which is also a certification course, but that's 12 months. It may be shorter than that, depending on how quickly we can move through the material. Very excited by that. That's my favorite course, right? Because we get to play with the angels and play with the elementals and do things. So we're moving from healing yourself to healing and working with Mother Earth. We're doing it at a larger level. We're doing it at the level of the landscape, and that's really where I love to play, and visiting sacred sites. So are you ready, Laura, to go to some sacred sites and do some ceremony? Talk to
Absolutely. Bring it on. You tell them. Let's do it. I
where
got my
we
scarf
going?
on. Let's go.
Yeah, as soon as this lockdown's over, we're traveling. It's going to be a traveling show. We're going to be traveling.
Wow.
That's their read.
Do it.
Yeah, we're going to be talking to them Lords of Light. Yeah, so thanks everybody for showing up. I don't know where we are as far as the hour is concerned. Mr. Michael in the back, he should give us a signal when it's time and when it's not. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
For quality online wellness products, courses, and services, visit our sponsors, thewellnessstore.ca and the Extraordinary Healing Arts Academy located at thewellnessacademy.ca. To stay in touch, visit us at thewellnessshow.ca. And until next time, be healthy, wealthy, and wise.